Here's what nobody tells you about manifestation. Most people are imagining the life they want while emotionally living the life they don't want. And that's why it doesn't work. They're daydreaming about abundance while feeling broke. They're visualizing the relationship they want to have while feeling unworthy of that relationship. They're imagining freedom while staying attached to fear. They forget the one thing that actually makes it work. And today I'm going to show you what that is. So hi, I'm Lori, and I help people reconnect with their soul and raise their frequency so that they can actually create the life they want instead of just wishing for it. And I reviewed this information last night during a live, but I had technical issues, so I didn't get to share all of it. I was going from memory. I couldn't pull up my slides. So that's what I want to do right now. I just feel this topic is far too important to just pass it over. So let me start with Wayne Dyer, my favorite mentor, said, and I believe he got it from Neville Goddard, but he had said something that changed my entire understanding of how this works. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Let me say that again. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Your energy, your aura, it is this energy field around you, and it's broadcasting every single second of every single day. And that signal is either attracting what you want into your life or it's pushing it away. Those are your only two options. And that signal, it's determined by your frequency, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs. All of it creates the frequency you're vibrating at right now, at this very moment. So if you're wondering why manifestation doesn't work for you, well, stick with me. We're going to go a little bit deeper here, and let's see if we can figure this out for you. But before we do, I want to introduce you to a concept that I recently termed, and I call it the frequency economy. Most people understand the traditional economy, right? You trade money for goods and services. You work, you get paid, and you buy things. Simple. But there's another economy that we are all operating at in our life, whether you realize it or not. It's called the frequency economy. It's your energetic state. It determines what flows to you. And in the traditional economy, you're focused on what you do, how much you make, right? And how much you spend. You're always hustling, right? It's all about the doing. But in the frequency economy, it's about what you are, your inner world, what's inside of you, your consciousness. Because your inner world, it creates your outer world. It's as simple as that. Whatever's going on inside you is what creates your reality around you. End stop. That's it. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And here's where, I guess what most people don't understand, they're so focused on the traditional economy, the working harder, the hustling, like I said, just forcing things, trying so hard to make things happen, that they're completely ignoring the frequency economy. And that's the one that actually determines whether abundance flows to you easily or whether you'll struggle for it constantly. And once you understand how the frequency economy works, everything I'm about to teach you will make perfect sense. So let's talk about it. Your thoughts, not just your thoughts, they're your frequency. So if you can think about every thought that you have is actually on a certain frequency, right? There's all different high frequency, low frequency. And everything in this universe is energy. Your body, your car, this chair I'm sitting in, my phone. Everything is energy. And it's all vibrating at different frequencies. And the frequency you're vibrating at right now, that's what you're attracting to yourself in this frequency economy. Your energy, your aura, your frequency, it's kind of like a radio station. It's broadcasting 24/7. And the universe responds to that signal. If you're broadcasting fear, anxiety, scarcity, you're going to attract more situations like that. You're going to attract more situations where you feel fearful, anxious, scarce. But if you're broadcasting confidence, gratitude, abundance, you're going to attract those type of opportunities. And people and circumstances will just align up in your life and they'll match that vibration. It's not woo-woo, folks. It is how it works. It's just how energy works. And here's what's wild. The universe doesn't care. It doesn't care about your current circumstances or your situation. It doesn't care about how much money you have in your bank account. It doesn't care about how many times you've failed in your life. The universe only responds to the signal you're sending out at this very moment. That's it. What you're sending out right now. And that signal, it's all shaped by how you feel. So in the frequency economy, it's not about how hard you work. It's about what frequency you're vibrating at while you work. And so let me tell you what's really happening, I guess, when people say, yeah, Lori, I tried manifestation, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. Because a lot of times I hear, well, they're visualizing, they're imagining, but they're forgetting to attach that feeling to it. Imagination it's just a bridge. It's a bridge from your subconscious mind to your reality. If you can see it in your mind, then it already exists somewhere out there on a frequency. That's truth. It's not made up. It's how it works. That's how energy works. But the problem is most people, what they run into is you cannot keep your old self and how you feel while visualizing different scenes. You can't imagine yourself as confident if you're emotionally feeling insecure. You can't visualize financial freedom if you're carrying this weight of scarcity. You can't see yourself healed while you're staying attached to the wounded version of yourself. You know, people will visualize and daydream all day long. They imagine the life they want. They picture it clearly. I can see it clearly, Lori. But they forget the most important part, that feeling. They imagine the new job, but they're still feeling frustrated and undervalued in their own old job. They imagine the relationship, that loving relationship they want, but they're still feeling unworthy of love. They imagine that breakthrough, but they feel stuck. And that's why it's not working for them. It's as simple as that. I guess imagination without the feeling, it's just fantasy. The imagination shows you what's possible, but the feelings that you attach to it is what makes it real. Now, here's a shift, right? Once you understand that imagination is just a tool, that's all it is, everything will change for you. And your imagination is always running. It's always on. But you got to start using it consciously. And when you pair it with that feeling, wonderful, right? It's like fine wine paired with your dinner. They work together. And that's when you start changing your frequency. And that's when the universe will just start realigning and rearranging things to bring about what you're trying to manifest. So if you can see something in your imagination, then it's already out there. It already exists on a frequency. You just need to get yourself on that frequency where that exists. And you just got to ask yourself, are you tuned to the right frequency that it's on? Think of it like a radio, right? Every station broadcasting is broadcasting at the same time. Whether you're listening to country, but then you want to listen to hip hop, or you want to turn to a podcast, you can only hear one station at a time. But they're all playing. The one that you hear is the one that you're tuned to. Your frequency is that dial. And what changes the dial? It's your feelings. So when you imagine what you want, let's say financial freedom, that's usually top on everybody's list. You're looking at the station that's broadcasting financial freedom, but you're still feeling broke and nervous and anxious. So your dial is tuned to the broke, anxious, desperate station. So things will not realign for you. You can see the other station, you can see what you want, you can imagine it, but you're not tuned to it. To change your frequency, you have to assume the feelings as if what you want is already here. Let me repeat that. To change your frequency, you have to assume the feelings as if what you want is already here. Not just think about it, not just hope for it. You got to feel it. And what does financial freedom feel like in your body? I don't know. It feels different for everybody. You know, what does confidence feel like? What does peace feel like? Seriously, take a minute and think about it. Think about what you would feel. But here's the hard part. You have to feel that now, not when you get that raise, not when you get that bonus, not when you lose those 10 pounds. You must feel it now, as if what you are trying to attract is already here. Because the feelings have got to come first, and then the manifestation follows. It's just the way it is. You have to feel grateful now. You have to feel abundant now. You have to feel whatever you're trying to feel, confident, prosperous. You have to feel it now, in this very moment, before the universe will bring you more. It's just the way it is. If you're waiting to feel good about money until you have more of it, you're going to be waiting a very, very long time. So, and I know there's a lot of skeptics out there. I know there are a lot of questions out there. And I know some of you are probably thinking right now, Lori, if manifestation actually worked, wouldn't we all have 10 cars, 5 houses? Wouldn't we all have this, more than enough money in the bank? So let me try and address this. Conscious creation, it's not about vanity, first of all. It's not about collecting material things. I hope if you're watching this, you're at least at the point in your life where you realize that life is not all about material things. It's not about material things at all. But it's certainly what the internet and YouTube and TikTok, it's what it makes it look like, right? But that's not how the frequency economy works. The real work is about becoming the version of you who feels abundant, the version of you who feels peaceful, who feels free, regardless of what you have in your life. And once you have that, that frequency shift, once those feelings start really feeling just like natural, second nature to you, that's when the universe will start rearranging. I'm telling you, folks, I'm telling you, I have lived this. I have lived this. It's not about the cars. It's about your state of being. And another question I see, why is there law of attraction manifestation videos all over the place right now? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if there's more now than ever before, but right now I know the world is kind of hard right now, and a lot of people are struggling right now. So honestly, I think there are people out there who are searching for hope, right? They're desperate for a change. People are so desperate for a change from what's going on in this world. But I also think it's because of your reticular activating system, that little thing in the back of your brain, that once you see something and you start thinking about it and you start focusing on it, then that's all you see. That's just the way it is, right? The most common example is a car. You want to go buy a car. I want this, this red Jeep. My daughter has a red Jeep. That's what made me think of it. But, I want this red Jeep, and all of a sudden you see a red Jeep everywhere. It's called the reticular activating system. And I know Escaping the Suburbs, Scott just talked about this in one of his recent videos. He did a great job explaining it. So go check out some of his videos. He did a good job with this. But I think that's why you see it a lot. And that's not a problem. That's a good thing. But I think the problem is when people try and use manifestation, law of attraction as a Band-Aid instead of doing the real inner work that needs to happen. Manifestation, it's not about avoiding the struggles. You can't avoid them. It's going to happen. But it's about raising your frequency. It's about raising your baseline frequency. But you also want to stop creating an environment where you are walking through those struggles over and over and over again. And, here's a big one, and this is something that I've had to learn. Okay, Lori, how do I assume my wish has been fulfilled, my desire has come to fruition when I'm unemployed? How? You tell me how to do that. I don't have all the answers. I don't know, but I'll tell you right now, I am walking that walk. I was laid off 2 years ago. And shortly after getting laid off, I also had an online business. I lost that Amazon business 45 days, within 45 days. It was just Amazon took it a different way. So long story. But anyways, I lost a business. So in a matter of 90 days, I lost my job and I lost my business. Now, at the beginning of this year, 2025, my husband was also laid off. He was the only one bringing, income into the house. But I don't live from that mindset. I still live as if financially we are okay. And you know what? We have been okay, and we will continue to be okay. So I don't have all the answers. I can only tell you what I've done. And you got to figure out what's right for you. But you're not trying to feel like you have a job. You're trying to feel like the person who has the job. I don't know if that makes any sense. What does that person feel like? Confident, resourceful, calm, worthy? I feel all those things. I'm not saying I don't have bad days. Of course I do. So, you do have to practice. You do have to practice. I'm not saying it'll just come easy. But you need to practice not the outcome, but the state. You need to practice feeling valuable. You need to practice feeling capable. You need to practice like someone the universe is going to support. And when you can hold that frequency, really hold that frequency, even without the job, that's when things will shift. And I want to be careful because I don't want to mislead people, right? Just because you're visualizing or imagining or thinking about things, it is the choices you make every single day and the feelings that you attach to those choices that make the difference. You can imagine all day long, but if your daily choices are coming from fear, coming from lack, coming from the old version of yourself, nothing will change. The version of you who has what you want, that person needs to make those decisions. It needs to come from that state of mind. That person says yes to opportunities, even if they're scared. That person will invest in themselves, even when it feels risky. That person will set boundaries, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable. That person just shows up differently. So ask yourself, what would the version of me who already has what I'm looking for do right now? And you make choices from that state of mind. You make choices from that state of mind and attach that feeling from that feeling. This is how you change your frequency, folks. It's not just about meditation. Meditation works. It's not just about visualizing. It helps. But in your life, every choice is either reinforcing the old frequency or building the new one. You cannot behave in a way that is inconsistent with how you see yourself. So if you see yourself as stuck, you'll find ways to stay stuck. It's just that simple. But if you see yourself as someone the universe is supporting and rearranging things for to achieve what you're trying to achieve, someone who's abundant, someone who's worthy, then that's how you'll behave. And that's how your frequency will change. And that's when everything will change. So you ask, so how do you actually do this? What are some steps I can take, Lori, right? What are some practical tools that I can take? So here's what I want you to try. And let me reiterate, I do not have all the answers. I can only tell you what I've done and what has worked for me. But I am so open to suggestions, so open to new ideas. Please leave them in the comments. I am always looking for new ideas. But I want you to notice, step one, I want you to notice your imagination and your feelings. Are they out of alignment? And where are they out of alignment? Are you imagining yourself as having a lot of money in your bank account, but you feel broke? Are you imagining having a peaceful life right now, but you're full of anxiety? Try and get those paired up. Try, obviously, get rid of those feelings of the negative feelings that you're trying to replace. Because it's that gap that you need to get rid of. It's that gap that is keeping you stuck. And then I guess I don't know if there's actually steps, but my second suggestion, step 2, whatever, feel it. You got to feel it first. So when you get out of bed tomorrow morning, don't pick up your phone. Oh my goodness, don't pick up your phone. I say this more for Lori than anybody else. But take 5 minutes to feel what it would feel like to already have what you want. Don't just think about it. Feel it, not just visualize it. Really feel it in your bones, okay? I took a master class a couple of years ago, and I love the way the teacher explained this. We go to our closet every day to figure out what we want to wear for the day, right? Like, oh, today I feel a little bit spicy. I'm going to wear this outfit. I'm a little bit laid back today. Oh, I got a board meeting. I'm going to dress a little bit more professional today. You can do the same things with your feelings. You can go to the closet of your feelings and say, hey, I want to feel confident today. So I am going to put on the feeling of confidence. Put it on just like you would an outfit. I love that analogy. So if you're trying to be financially free, what would it feel like? Not just think financially free, but what would that feel like? Would it give you a sense of calm, just a sense of peace, like security? What would it feel like? And feel that. And just let it flow from every cell of your body, just for 5 minutes if you can. And I guess the next step, you got to do that throughout the day, not just a morning practice. You need to do it as often as you can throughout the day. I understand we all get lost in our days, but as often as you can remember, try and do that. And just remember, when an opportunity shows up for you, first you need to be open to it, right? You need to be open to it. But respond and make decision and take action from the person as if it was already here, who already has what you want. And if fear shows up, acknowledge it, but don't make decisions from it. Or if doubt seeps in, just say, hey, I see you, thank you, but I got this. You can sit this one out. And then choose that feeling anyways. Sorry, folks, hold on 1 second. Probably going to have to cut that one out. We'll see. But the more you can stay in that frequency, the faster things will shift for you. So I guess what I want you to take away from everything that we talked about, just imagine, your imagination shows you what's possible, right? But it's the feeling that is the magic. It's the feeling what tunes you into the frequency that you need to be at. Most people will daydream, they can imagine, and they can visualize, but you must attach that feeling. When you don't attach the feelings, it's just not going to happen. Nothing will change. But if you've stayed this long, if you're listening to me right now, I'm going to tell you, you're not most people. You're not most people. So you got this. You know how this works. So, and remember, you cannot keep your old self while imagining new scenes. You just can't. You know that your frequency, remember, your frequency is the dial, right? It's just like a radio. Just tune that dial. And your feelings are what will change that. Your feelings are what will change the dial. And remember, the universe will not respond to what you want. It'll always respond to what you are. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for proof. Stop waiting for it to feel easier. What do you have to lose? Just do it. What do you have to lose? Try it. I am open to all comments, good, bad, ugly. But don't leave a negative comment if you haven't tried it. Try it. I promise you. Start feeling it now. Start choosing it now. Start being in the frequency economy now, and watch how magical the universe becomes and rearranges and shifts things. And I think in one of the other videos is we need to talk about making sure you're open to seeing the signals and whatnot. But until then, remember, you're enough just the way you are, folks. You really, really matter. I love having you here with me. And until our next conversation, you take care.